The Power universe is about to shake like never before, and Raising Kanan Season 5 is about to drop the bombshells that will change everything we thought we knew. Imagine Kanan's world spiraling out of control, alliances shattering, and the streets of Queens about to witness the rise of a kingpin who will stop at nothing to claim his empire. The tension is thicker than ever, and with the stakes higher than we've ever seen, the final season promises twists so shocking, so unpredictable, that you'll question everything about loyalty, power, and family. As we dive into the chaos, one question burns hotter than any bullet. Who will survive Kanan's wrath, and who will be the first to feel the consequences of crossing him? The calm before the storm is gone, and every decision Kanan makes could ignite a chain reaction that will reshape the entire Power universe. With Breeze stepping onto the scene in the most dramatic way imaginable, the dynamics are about to explode. We know from the originals that Kanan and Breeze were a duo that transformed both Ghost and Tommy, molding them into figures feared across Queens. But now it's their turn to claim the throne. The Season 5 finale will push Kanan to the edge, forcing him to confront not just his enemies, but his own morals, his choices, and the shadows of the past he can never escape. From the moment the first gunshot echoes to the final betrayal, nothing will be as it seems. Will Kanan finally take the revenge he's been chasing for years, or will loyalty, family ties, and unexpected alliances force him to question everything he believes? We've already seen the cracks forming, his relationships with Rock and Jukebox hanging by a thread. But the real question is, who will he cut off permanently when the truth comes to light? And speaking of truth, the shocking revelations about who killed Crystal and Fame are about to change the game entirely. Breeze's secret knowledge, the untold betrayals, and the dangerous calculations that follow will push Kanan into decisions that will have ripple effects far beyond what anyone could imagine. As Kanan navigates this treacherous path, we will witness a masterclass in ambition and ruthlessness, a rise to power that's as thrilling as it is terrifying. He will face tests that challenge not just his dominance, but his very code of loyalty. Tests that will separate friends from foes and blur the lines between love and vengeance. The streets of Queens will no longer be the same once Kanan and Breeze start building their empire. The season promises high-stakes confrontations, shocking deaths, and moments so tense that you'll feel every heartbeat, every hesitation, every calculated move. And in the midst of all this chaos, the seeds of the next generation, the young ghosts, Tommy and Ghost, are quietly being planted, hinting at the monumental transition into power origins. Every action Kanan takes will reverberate into the future, and by the time the finale hits, the lines between mentor, ally, and enemy will be blurred beyond recognition. The anticipation is not just for revenge or power, it's for the culmination of years of storytelling, the explosive consequences of choices made and loyalties tested. Kanan's journey is far from over. It's about to reach a crescendo that will leave the audience breathless, questioning who will survive and who will be the next to fall. The questions are endless, the suspense unbearable, and the stakes unprecedented. Season 5 isn't just a continuation, it's a reckoning, a game of chess played with bullets, loyalty, and ambition. Will Kanan finally become the king of Queens, or will the ghosts of the past and the betrayals of those closest to him destroy everything he's fought for? The clock is ticking, the tension is mounting, and the streets are alive with danger, ready to erupt at any moment. This is Raising Kanan Season 5, where the power is supreme, the stakes are lethal, and every decision could be the last. As Raising Kanan Season 5 kicks off, the tension between Kanan and those closest to him is already palpable, and the streets of Queens are about to become a battlefield where every move could be fatal. Kanan's relationship with Rock and Jukebox, already fractured in the previous season, will face its ultimate test as secrets, lies, and past betrayals come to light. Rock, who has always been the voice of reason, is walking a dangerous tightrope between survival and loyalty. Kanan's calmness, the gunshot that might have been a warning rather than an execution, and the shifting power dynamics all hint at a storm brewing that no one can escape. And Jukebox, despite her loyalty to Kanan, has already shown that she's willing to make decisions that defy him, putting her in the crosshairs of someone who does not forgive betrayal. The stage is set for a series of confrontations where alliances will crumble, trust will be tested, and the meaning of family will be questioned like never before. But while these personal conflicts simmer, the larger picture is even more explosive. Breeze's arrival in the Season 4 finale was more than just dramatic, it was a signal that the rise of Kanan's empire is about to accelerate. Breeze is not just an ally, he is a strategist, a ruthless force who understands the true currency of the streets: power, loyalty, and fear. Together, Kanan and Breeze will start carving their path to dominance, building an empire that will leave the rest of Queens trembling. And yet, the path to power is never straightforward in the Power universe. The killers of Crystal and Fame, hiding in plain sight within Breeze's own family, will ignite a chain reaction of revenge and betrayal that no one, even Kanan, can predict. When Breeze reveals the truth about his uncle and aunt, Kanan will face a decision that could define him forever. Will he strike immediately, fueled by anger and a thirst for justice? Or will he play the long game, letting fear and manipulation guide his hand? This is the kind of tension that keeps audiences on edge, because Kanan's choices will not only determine the fate of his enemies, but also shape the loyalty of those around him. Every character, every ally, and every foe will be tested against the harshest standards of ambition and ruthlessness. And the consequences of misjudgment in Queens are permanent. One wrong move, one lapse of judgment, and the streets will demand a price in blood. As the season progresses, the rise of Kanan and Breeze will attract attention from unexpected corners. Unique, a figure whose presence has always hinted at chaos and fire, will make a move that could alter the balance of power entirely. His admiration for Kanan's ambition may seem like an opportunity for alliance, but in the Power universe, loyalty is fragile, and revenge is a constant shadow. Unique has his own agenda, and it's no secret that Rock remains a target for his vengeance. This sets up a collision course between Kanan's sense of justice, the innocence of Rock, and the calculated ruthlessness of Unique. Will Kanan allow vengeance to dictate his actions, or will he protect the one person who has always been the anchor in his turbulent life? The suspense is unbearable, because in this world, even a single hesitation can mean death. As Kanan consolidates his power, the implications for the rest of Queens are monumental. Criminal empires do not grow in silence. They expand through fear, manipulation, and carefully orchestrated strikes that leave rivals scrambling. Kanan and Breeze's empire building will be a masterclass in ambition and ruthlessness, a rise to power that's as thrilling as it is terrifying. He will face tests that challenge not just his dominance, but his very code of loyalty, tests that will separate friends from foes and blur the lines between love and vengeance. The streets of Queens will no longer be the same once Kanan and Breeze start building their empire. The season promises high-stakes confrontations, shocking deaths, and moments so tense that you'll feel every heartbeat, every hesitation, every calculated move. And in the midst of all this chaos, the seeds of the next generation, the young ghosts, Tommy and Ghost, are quietly being planted, hinting at the monumental transition into power origins. Every action Kanan takes will reverberate into the future, and by the time the finale hits, the lines between mentor, ally, and enemy will be blurred beyond recognition. The anticipation is not just for revenge or power, it's for the culmination of years of storytelling, the explosive consequences of choices made and loyalties tested. Kanan's journey is far from over. It's about to reach a crescendo that will leave the audience breathless, questioning who will survive and who will be the next to fall. The questions are endless, the suspense unbearable, and the stakes unprecedented. Season 5 isn't just a continuation, it's a reckoning, a game of chess played with bullets, loyalty, and ambition. Will Kanan finally become the king of queens, or will the ghosts of the past and the betrayals of those closest to him destroy everything he's fought for? The clock is ticking, the tension is mounting, and the streets are alive with danger, ready to erupt at any moment. This is Raising Kanan Season 5, where the power is supreme, the stakes are lethal, and every decision could be the last. Season 5 also deepens the emotional weight of the story by showing how every decision now carries long-term consequences, especially for Kanan. The trailer strongly suggests that this is the season where lessons turn into scars. Kanan is no longer reacting to events around him, he is anticipating them. He is watching people closely, measuring their words, and deciding who is useful and who is dangerous. This shift is subtle but powerful. You can feel that Kanan is becoming more disciplined, more controlled, and at the same time, more ruthless. He is learning that in this world, emotions are weaknesses that others will gladly exploit. Season 5 shows us that Kanan is trying to kill the emotional side of himself before someone else uses it to destroy him. Another major layer teased in the trailer is the idea of legacy, not just the legacy Kanan will leave behind, but the one he is inheriting whether he wants it or not. Everything around him is shaped by choices made before he was old enough to understand them. The streets remember names, and reputations last longer than people. Kanan is slowly realizing that no matter how far he tries to separate himself from his family's past, he will always be judged by it. This creates an internal conflict that feels heavier than any external threat. He wants to be his own man, but the world keeps pulling him toward a path that was set for him long ago. Season 5 leans into this struggle and shows us how exhausting it is to fight destiny while also surviving the present. The trailer also hints at shifting power dynamics across queens. No one is fully in control anymore, and that instability creates opportunity. Characters who once felt untouchable now look vulnerable, while others who stayed quiet are beginning to move. This kind of environment is perfect for someone like Kanan, who is learning how to adapt quickly. But it is also extremely dangerous. One wrong alliance, one misunderstood signal, and everything can collapse. Season 5 feels like a chessboard where every piece is moving at the same time, and no one knows who is actually winning until it is too late. Violence in this season feels more purposeful and more personal. The trailer suggests that when things turn deadly, it will not be random. Every act will mean something. Every confrontation will be rooted in past mistakes, broken trust, or unfinished business. This makes the tension much stronger because nothing feels accidental. Kanan is not just witnessing violence anymore, he is becoming the cause of it. And with each step he takes deeper into this life, the line between necessity and choice becomes harder to see. Season 5 forces him to accept that some actions cannot be justified, only survived. Rock's presence continues to loom over everything, even when she is not directly involved in a scene. The trailer shows that her influence is still shaping events, whether through old connections, enemies she created, or lessons she drilled into Kanan from a young age. Even as Kanan tries to distance himself, he is using the same tools she taught him. This creates a powerful irony. The more he tries to escape her shadow, the more he proves how deeply she shaped him. Season 5 explores this tension in a quiet but intense way, making their relationship feel less like a simple conflict and more like an unavoidable collision. By the midpoint of this season, it becomes clear that there are no clean exits left. Every character is trapped by their own choices, and survival now depends on how well they can live with those decisions. The trailer does not give us clear heroes or villains. Instead, it shows us people doing whatever they think is necessary to stay alive and in control. That moral gray area is where Raising Kanan thrives, and Season 5 seems ready to push it further than ever before. This is not just the story of how Kanan rises, it's the story of what he has to sacrifice to keep rising, even when the cost is higher than he ever imagined. Season 5 continues to raise the stakes by showing how survival now depends on foresight rather than strength. The trailer makes it clear that raw aggression alone is no longer enough in Queens. The streets are crowded with people who think they deserve power, and the difference between those who last and those who disappear comes down to patience and intelligence. Kanan is stepping into this reality with his eyes open. He's learning to slow down, to observe, and to strike only when the moment is right. This evolution is dangerous because it makes him unpredictable, and unpredictability is one of the most powerful weapons in this world. Season 5 shows us that Kanan is no longer driven by anger alone, he is driven by purpose. The pressure surrounding Kanan keeps building as more people begin to recognize his potential. Attention in this universe is never a good thing. The more eyes on you, the more enemies you attract. The trailer hints at multiple forces circling Kanan, each with their own agenda. Some see him as a future ally, others see him as a threat that needs to be handled early. This creates an atmosphere where every interaction feels like a test. Kanan can't afford to reveal too much or trust too quickly. Season 5 places him in a constant state of evaluation, where one wrong judgment could cost him everything he is trying to build. Family remains one of the most complicated themes in this season. Blood ties no longer guarantee protection, and history no longer guarantees loyalty. The trailer suggests that old wounds within the family are far from healed, and in some cases, they are getting worse. Kanan is forced to confront the reality that love and power rarely coexist peacefully. When choices have to be made, power almost always wins. This realization pushes him further away from the person he used to be and closer to the man he is becoming. Season 5 does not romanticize this shift. It presents it as painful, necessary, and irreversible. Another important element teased in the trailer is the idea of fear. Fear is no longer something Kanan reacts to. It's something he learns to use. We see signs that he understands how reputation shapes behavior, how silence can be louder than threats, and how restraint can be more intimidating than violence. These are lessons that separate survivors from leaders. Season 5 shows us Kanan beginning to grasp these truths, even as they harden him emotionally. Every lesson learned pushes him further from innocence and closer to control. The environment of Queens feels heavier in this season. The trailer gives the sense that the walls are closing in on everyone. Law enforcement pressure, street rivalries, and internal betrayals all exist at the same time, creating a constant feeling of danger. There is no safe space anymore, not even within familiar territory. Kanan is navigating a world where danger does not announce itself. It hides behind routine, behind familiar faces, and behind promises that sound too good to be true. Season 5 thrives in this uncertainty, making every quiet moment feel as tense as a violent one. As the season progresses, the idea of choice becomes more complicated. Kanan is not always choosing between right and wrong. He's choosing between bad and worse. The trailer suggests that many of his decisions will be driven by necessity rather than desire. This is where the tragedy of his story becomes clear. He is becoming powerful, but that power is costing him parts of himself that he will never get back. Season 5 captures this transformation in a way that feels slow, realistic, and deeply unsettling. By this point in the story, it is clear that raising Kanan is no longer just about growth, it's about consequences. Every move made earlier in the series is now coming back in some form. Old enemies remember, old allies question motives, and the future feels closer than ever. Season 5 positions itself as the moment where everything finally aligns, setting the stage for the